With this new moon, we're bringing in new neural connections from the heart space around curiosity, creativity, joy and pleasure. Hello and welcome to the All 12 Signs video series for the new moon in Gemini. My name's Chloe. I work with card divination, astrology, and as you just heard and as you can see, I channel multi-dimensional energies through my body, both in the form of physical and vocal light language. And this brings in healing, attunement, and activation codes in these readings. For those of you who know your time of birth, I recommend you check out the sign that falls in the first house. This is called your rising sign, or where your ascendant is. I read for all the signs as if they're in the first house, so the astrology links in closest with that. However, it never invalidates you looking at any other part of your chart. Perhaps where your sun and your moon are, because they always get activated with every lunation. Just look to whatever sign it is that you're tapping into. Look to where it falls in your natal chart, the house that it's in, and you want to apply the themes of that house, as well as all the meaning you've got going on in that sign, to the messages that come through. It's as if that sign will now move to the first house. So the astrology for the rising sign will still link in. You've just got to add on your natal chart meaning on top of it. Right, I'm going to be reading for Sagittarius and Scorpio in this video. Oh no, sorry, Capricorn and Sagittarius, I do apologize. So let us begin. Capricorn rising. How you doing, Capricorn? Right, so I read for the rising signs. So for those of you who have Capricorn elsewhere in your chart, just look to the house that it's in and the themes of that house. You want to apply those themes, as well as all the meaning you've got going on in the sign of Capricorn, to the messages that are going to come through in this reading. It will be as if that Capricorn energy. Whoa, look at that. Hello, the Magician. This is Mercury's card. It will be as if that Capricorn energy of your natal chart has now moved to the first house. So when I talk about the rising sign astrology, it will still link in. You just got to add on your own natal chart meaning on top of it. Right, so this is a reading for the Gemini new moon. It's happening today. I do apologize for the delay in getting these videos out. I work with 6-month cycles though, so what's coming through with this, the messages that come in, they're going to unfold over the next 6 months. So you're not missing out on anything. But the reason for the delay is because I did a Jupiter in Gemini transit series that just took a little longer than anticipated. And that is a year-long transit that we have here with Jupiter in this sign. It will not be in the sign of Gemini for another 12 years when it finishes its transit. I really recommend that transit. It's wherever Jupiter is, it really empowers us. It helps us bring deeper wisdom and knowledge into that area of our chart. So I recommend checking out that transit series, and the themes that was coming through in all of that transit are very much relevant to this new moon. I also, another reason for the delay is I did a pick a card reading for the Venus Sun Cazimi that happened on the 4th of June. And so that is also very much linked into this new moon. I'm going to be posting that tomorrow on Friday, which is Venus's day. And the reason why it's relevant is because Venus is conjunct the sun and the moon for this new moon transit. So big, beautiful Gemini energy from the heart space coming through with embodied wisdom from Jupiter. I've done a collective reading for this transit, and that's always the first video out, and that's where I get to break down the astrology in a lot more detail, tap into the energy of what that moon feels like for us all, of how all the celestial bodies are talking to each other at the exact moment of the new moon, which is happening today on Thursday, Jupiter's day. So we've got big Jupiter energy affecting this moon, and so that helps give you a sort of, it creates a harmonic blueprint. And, you know, and I expanded on the energy of that and the aspects that it was making, did some collective tarot. So if you want a deeper understanding of what this moon is all about and what kind of energies around it, that can then help you work with this new moon energy over the next 6 months, I do recommend it. And the tarot will relate of how that affects the Capricorn area of your chart. More channeled messages come through in those collective readings. utufiala itiala. So let us begin. Right, Capricorn rising, where is this happening for you? Well, it's happening in your 6th house, the adult in the room. This is about work, how you work, physical health, routines, co-workers, and pets. So new moons, great time to set new intentions because the moon is at her darkest, her most receptive, and the moon represents our intuition, our needs, and our nourishment, how we support our needs, how our needs are met, how we give and receive nourishment, as well as our emotional body. So with the full light of the sun, the vision, the clarity, the animation, the divine inspiration, this is when we can plant seeds in our unconscious space that will then unfold over the next 6 months. So intentions around understanding deeply from an intuitive space how you work, right? Giving a stronger connection to putting those routines in, right? And meeting your needs, and giving yourself nourishment, and or tending to your physical body. Intentions around healthier dynamic, I nearly said romantic dynamics, around co-workers, right? That might be relevant for some of you. If you want a pet, this is a great time to set an intention around a new moon to bring that energy in. Now, as I said, it is the adult in the room. And this is because, well, for one reason, this is in conjunct your Capricorn energy wherever it falls in your chart. Now, an inconjunct isn't a traditional aspect. It is a little bit, can be a little bit discombobulating, some crossed wires, some frustration. You feel like you're putting in a lot of work, and perhaps not getting there in the easiest of fashions. And this is because we are working with 6 different energies, your Capricorn energy and the Gemini energy, that don't traditionally have a real commonality between one another. Capricorn, you are earth, you are cardinal in nature, and you are yin. Now, Gemini is air, it's mutable and yang. So you just got to imagine these 6 different energies like not really understanding one another, and like it takes a lot of effort for them to start to work together. So the way that I like to describe an inconjunct, I love the inconjunct energy, by the way. It just once you sort of figure out, okay, this is going to take a little bit more effort than some other aspects. The way that I like to describe an inconjunct is herding cats, right? Which is a bit difficult. Cats are very independent. They like to do what they want to do. Same with the energies, right? And so once you realize, okay, that's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to herd cats. But once you figure out the knack of herding cats, whoa, pretty cool. Very, very cool. Because this is a very inventive energy. It goes against tradition. It's breaking against the sort of the easy, free-flowing energy that we might be working with some other transit, with some other aspects. And so it's very thinking outside of the lines, right? Coloring outside of the lines, thinking outside of the box. I'm always feeling a bit cringe whenever I say that because I'm just going back in time when that was the corporate speak for so long. But it is that energy. It's sort of breaking against tradition, breaking against what you normally do, in order to incorporate 6 energies. And once you realize, and then you're working with 6 energies, that's really pretty cool. You're able to think of different patterns and different ways of doing things. And it really is quite a liberating energy. Once you realize it can be a bit difficult, right? It can have some miscommunication. And it's the adult in the room because of this difficulty, right? Because these are themes of themes of this house. We can really struggle to do that as a species, right? We can often learn certain love languages from our parental figures, not necessarily having the role models that we needed of being like, hey, no, it's actually really good and really healthy and actually facilitates your playtime if you understand how you work and you really dedicate yourself to that, because that is how you work. It's how you figure things out. So that spans into every area of your chart. Looking after your physical vessel, we can neglect that so much. When we do so, it really gives us more energy to do all the things that we want to do. Getting routines in line. We can have a little bit of a struggle bus with that. So this is why it's the adult in the room. You got a lot of ones. And There's a Sagittarius showing up there. Ituela, diala, diala, utuele. Oh, hey, Jupiter. Dufine ma disheni atuela. Ititini ma ototoela. Itiala. Okay, we've got Saturn at the bottom of the deck. So, what was I saying? Oh, what was I saying? Yeah, so we can sacrifice the sixth house for other people, for difficult, more pleasure-orientated energy, and what we really need to do is be that parent for ourselves, be that adult in the room, and it supports the rest of the chart. You've got a stellium going on here, right? You've got the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter. This is really, really powerful. We've got some strong activations of Jupiter being at the very early degrees of Gemini, so very, very potent when planets are at the beginning of a sign. Mercury and Jupiter are conjunct one another, so we've got a real sense of connecting the dots, of finding information or being really curious, and our desire to figure things out, and Jupiter bringing embodied wisdom. So this is really going to be very supportive over the next 6 months as this unfolds. Venus is conjunct the Sun and Moon. They are all at 16 degrees of Gemini. And so there's a connection to operating from the heart space, right? Of finding, right, Venus represents love, appreciation, a sense of connection and harmony and creativity. So you've got this beautiful boost from Venus influencing the Moon, influencing our intentions and how this is going to unfold, where we're operating from our heart to activate a higher level of curiosity and creativity. This moon is also what's called out of bounds. The Sagittarius full moon was also out of bounds. And what does that represent? Well, the sun has a certain trajectory through the sky. If there's a celestial body that is above that trajectory, rather than between the earth and the sun in terms of how we receive that information from our visual cortex, it's the moon energy is not entangled with our earth traumas, right? The earth entanglements and the dogma, right? Dogma has been a very key word for the transits that I've been doing in Gemini. And that was activated, a release from that was activated with the Sagittarius full moon that we just had. So the out of bounds energy is going against tradition, right? It's tapping more into the galactic, expansive, zoomed out energy. So we're bringing in with this moon new possibilities, new neural pathways that are more in alignment with the heart. And our ability to be mutable and changeable and seek different pathways, seek different information, and not take things so seriously, right? That then allows us to connect new dots, connect new pathways beyond that dogma, beyond the limiting beliefs that we may have had embodied within ourselves from our experiences in this incarnation, the wounds that we hold from the ancestors, from our past lives, from the collective. It's a very light and liberating energy, as I said, through the heart, right? That's allowing us to explore and bring in more catalytic energy. And with that, it has brought up so far in the readings, because this is sort of a very out of bounds, more galactic ET energy, it's bringing a lot of disruption when we have very powerful portals like this. And the old paradigms, the energy that's stuck in your body, that's entangled, that's in dogmatic, fixed and rigid, is because we have this energy download, the 3D then has a little while to catch up. And so it can bring all of this to the surface, whether it's out in your life, externally, or whether it's internal struggles, internal energy coming up that you're then going to be working with over the next 6 months, while this sort of, I'm always wary of saying higher frequency because it's negatively implying to the lower frequencies. We want to be in balance with all of them. It's a more of an integrated, expansive energy. And when we tap into that, it opens ourselves up to opportunities, right? It clears the clutter for more possibilities to come in. And because of that, old paradigms bubble to the surface that are there to then So this in conjunct with your Capricorn energy, we're getting more possibilities, new paradigms, very playful, very energetic, fastest moving sign in the zodiac with Gemini. And Capricorn, you're ruled by Saturn, so there is an element of a weight, a slowness. You're about the long-term goals, right? The capacity to keep going and implement. There's a sense of dedication with Capricorn. But this Gemini energy can feel a little bit frenetic, a little bit disruptive. But because we've got Venus, because we've got Jupiter and Mercury, the two benefics, Jupiter and Venus, supporting this moon, you're going to be able to tap into this very playful ability to shift and change and then implement it in terms of the long term. In the way that you embody yourself. Your first house is how you integrate your sun or your moon, depends if you've got a day or a night chart, into your actions, into your deeds, right? A rising sign, the first house, is the lens in which you move through these cosmic waters. It's your body, it's your character, it's your sense of self, and often how other people see you. You can see an activation around here of co-workers and people that you collaborate with work, seeing you in a different light. As well as what else did I want to say? The capacity for you to embody this very playful energy. It may feel a little bit discombobulating, but just know that you have the capacity to incorporate and it kind of balances itself up, the freneticism of Gemini, the speed of Gemini with that slow and steady pace of Capricorn. And so there's bear that in mind, that the pace that you're going at, the downloads that you're going to get in Gemini, of putting them into practice and not beating yourself up if you're feeling like they're not quite gelling, right? This is a very playful energy with the inconjunct, where you are here to engage in different creative ways of figuring out how that works for you. And we'll see what comes up with the tarot. The only aspect I'm going to talk about, there's some really cool aspects to the nodes and to Pluto, but the only aspect I'm going to talk about in these readings is the square with Saturn. Saturn is one of your rulers, Capricorn. So this is going to have a bit more of an influence as well. And so Saturn's over in Pisces, and Pisces for you is in your third house, the house of the goddess, where we bring our big picture philosophies into our day-to-day, right? Finding meaning in the day-to-day. It is your the things you do on a day-to-day basis, your local community, your environmental frequency. It's about learning things for the first time because it's linked into schools. It can link into siblings, extended family, but it's also the lens in which you communicate through. Saturn can bring up restrictions, limitations, frustrations. I've done 3 Saturn in Pisces transits. If you haven't caught any of them, I still recommend the first one and the third one. Saturn's going to go retrograde at the end of June. I'm going to be doing that retrograde series. But Saturn with this square, right? Square's aspect of Mars can bring up conflict, drama, and frustration in these two sides. So there may be new ideas, new ways of thinking. You might have a sense of a little bit of a frustration of implementing it. And that is because it's going to show you wounds that have blocked that from your ability to put it into practice, right? And then Saturn can pull down foundational structures that don't serve you for the long term. Saturn's all about commitment, due diligence, integrity, and your legacy. I see this as a very powerful, positive energy because Venus is involved, because Jupiter and because Mercury is influencing this moon, and Mercury's conjunct Jupiter. This is and it's trine Pluto, elevating your sense of value, is going to be giving a very positive influence to this moon that Saturn is then going to be working with, right? Of you implementing these things on a day-to-day basis, you being able to communicate the way that you work, this new paradigm, perhaps with your co-workers, perhaps with your local community. This is making really positive aspects to Libra, which is up in your 10th house of your career and your life purpose, so I can see that feeding into it. But essentially, Saturn is really helping you walk your talk, Because a square is about manifestation. It's about your motivation, your drive, and your action. Itu fala Diana. So I could see a lot of support of you implementing these new paradigms in your day-to-day and building, right? And really finding a deeper meaning in your day-to-day because of this connection to your heart, to joy, to pleasure around work. Itu fala Diala ma oto ila Diala ma oto sheni ma o ela di sheni mo oto ela. Look to where your sun and your moon are in your natal chart. Look to the houses that they're in and the themes of those houses. Those themes are likely to play a role in the unfolding of this energy over the next 6 months. Also, if you're setting intentions and doing manifestation work, bringing those themes in can be really helpful. Yes, this is being recorded on the day of the new moon, but I do feel like we can retroactively step in back in time and tap into energy. So you're not missing out on setting those intentions, even if it's happening after the event. Right, I am going to go consciously quiet. All the cards that have come out, that are out, the energies that I work with, they're going to move through me. They're going to move the cards around. They're going to do some energy work. They're going to then put the cards into the 3 piles, and that's when I'll bring the tarot into the astrology. I'm doing things a little differently, regulars. So usually I do past, present, future, and with this transit I'm doing what's being activated, what is the challenge and how to work with that challenge should you choose to accept it, and the tools to amplify this energy. So I call you to soften your mind as well, and to don't overthink what's going on, and then see what your intuition says to you in regards to this moon. Ititile ma iala diala ma ot diala itini ma ichatiene ma ototuila du falare ma otuila ichitiala ishitiala doela tini ma ela itini ma ot iali itiali ma ituala Ituala, itu, ela, ishitinema, itela, doetinemo, otoela, dishinema, nitianimo, otoela, ititia, dishalama, otoela, diala, otum, itiala. Diala, di, doshelema, itiela, diala ma oela, diela, ititiala, ititiana, itinemo, dishalama, otuala, dishalama, itiana. Itiala, diala. Do fati alimo, o tinema di tiala. Ishitialimo, ela, diala, ichinia, itu fialama, otu fiala. So, Capricorn, not Gemini, I mean, it's the Gemini moon. This is what's being activated. This transit, we have the 5 of Wands in reverse, the 7 of Swords. This has been showing up. I think it's been for every sign. It was in the collective reading. I love this card. This is very much the energy of what's coming through. The 7 of Wands in reverse. So we've got 2 7s showing up, the Emperor and the 3 of Pentacles. Itiala, diala, mo otiana. 5 of Wands in reverse. Love this for the 6th house. So the 5 of Wands upright. This, even though it's wands, it can kind of represent that Gemini energy where you want to do all the things, you start doing all the things, you get quite distracted, and then you've got so many things going on the go that you freeze, and there's no momentum, right? There's lots of movement going on, but there's no momentum. I talk a lot about this of Jupiter in Gemini. Jupiter's really going to do us a solid with that, and help elevate that energy and give us the capacity to do lots of different things, and it's been showing up in these readings as well. So there's a lot going on in this card. There's a lot of energies and agendas, and they're all kind of doing battle with each other. It's not like crazy conflict. There's just a sense of there's a lot going on, but there's a lot of movement, but there's nothing really coming into being. It's kind of chaotic energy, right? And it's in reverse. So there's a release around this. There's a release around the lack of I love these cards, but they are a little bit difficult to use in this way. All right then. Venus giving us the capacity to find creativity and a sense of connection with all of these activities, all these things that we're doing, and it's passions, right? It's drives, it's motivation, and so this transit is releasing that energy and helping shift away from that. 7 of Swords. Love this card. Regulars, I'm sorry for boring you every time of saying I do not understand why everyone is like, this is a bad card, someone's stealing from you, this is pure trickery. This is the color of the sun. The sun is the biggest yes planet. It's a really abundant energy. This card is stealing away, this figure, sorry, is stealing away the 5 of Swords, which is another conflict energy. And the 5 of Swords is a sense of the bully in your, it could be the bully in your mind, could be difficult energy with co-workers, or a sense of thinking that things are never going to manifest, right? 5 of Swords, very, very conflict. It's one, for me, it's the most difficult card in the tarot. And this figure is stealing that away and bringing a sense of inner peace. It's stealing away the resources from the other side in order to stop the war. So there's a real element of shifting away from conflict, right? This is the out of bounds energy. This is the galactic energy coming in that's bringing us peace. So we have the capacity to elevate our understanding of how we engage with information in the world. It's about doing things differently, right? A new way of thinking. 7 of Wands in reverse. Again, a very archetypal card for us right now, because in the upright, this figure is on the higher ground. So this represents that this person has something truly of value, right? They are in a good position, but do they look like they know it? Look how unsteady. Look, that person looks so like, oh God, what's going on? I don't know my own value, right? And they're thinking they're having to do battle. Right, and they're having to be in conflict mode. So I can see this in the way that you work, of thinking that, well, there are loads of other people. There's like competition as well. There's loads of other people that do what I do. I'm having to be in competition with them, as well as you know, so often our sense of value stops us from being, or a lack of value stops us from being able to be the adult in the room and dedicate ourselves to that routine, and know very strongly that we have the capacity to do so, right? We have the capacity to heal ourselves. And again, this could be about co-workers or people that you work with, of feeling, oh, well, they might be doing better than me, when you don't see that what it is that you're bringing to the table is of the deep value. This is in reverse, so this is falling away, and this is this sense of, you know, the reason why I think it's archetypal for us right now is because we are source, we are love, we are of value, we are abundant, and it's so difficult for us to often tap into that, to genuinely embody it. Again, it's another wands energy. So this is your passion, your drive, your motivation. You got a lot of wands here, and so this is really activating a strengthening of that. We then got the Emperor, you being in your sovereignty, right? You knowing you are divine. This is the King of Kings, right? This is the integration of all the elements. There's a real sense of confidence coming in, an alignment coming in, of you knowing, or the actions that you take from your authentic, autonomous self has a great deal of power. So this energy is going to unfold over the next 6 months, where you're going to feel very confident about how you work. You're going to be able to implement, this is Aries in your 4th house. So this could be about taking care of your health, doing routines at home, and maybe working from home as well, and getting really in your power, in your roots and your foundations. It's facilitating the confidence that you're now feeling around how you work. The Emperor, people come to the Emperor for advice and support. So this could seem a real sense of people connecting to you, seeing your value, seeing your worth, and wanting to seek you out. Itu vali diala. Pluto's over in your second house of your skills and your tools, right? And how you make regular income. Libra's up in the 10th house with the south node of your career and your life purpose. So I can really see the empowerment there, right? Three of Pentacles, mastery of self and collaboration, right? This figure, right? I've come up with a little story with this figure. So this figure, the parents were like, you're going to be a lawyer and you have to be a lawyer. Otherwise, we're going to disown you. And this figure's like, nah, I'm going to carve stuff out of marble. And they don't listen to their extended family. Their friends are worried about them. They're like, no, this is what I'm doing. And they go and do it. And then they're so embodied in it. And they're very confident. They're in their own authority and their own autonomy. And because they're genuinely embodying that energy, they are able, they then draw towards them other frequencies, right? Other people who are also of that space that have different skills, and then they create and build something long lasting. And this is also could be so this could be this is an element of you coming into your sense of mastery about the way that you work, about what it is that you do, as well as and so this could be about with co-workers, of new projects, new collaborations coming in that are going to be not only long lasting but beautiful. Think of that Venusian energy. And we have here, this can be your routines and your physical health and the way that you work, all in collaboration with one another as this unfolds, and like really strengthening your vessel. So the challenge and how to work with the challenge should you choose to accept it. We have the Four of Cups, the King of Wands in reverse, the Moon in reverse, with Temperance, the Queen of Swords, and the Seven of Cups. So I feel this is the challenge and this is how to work with it. The Four of Cups, right? There's a stagnation energy here. There's a sense of depression and melancholy. This figure is looking at the Three of Cups, right? That sense of flow, that sense of ease, right? Getting on with people, being with like-minded people. Don't have to agree with everything, but that sense of kinship, right? With that Three of Cups, sense of abundance and flow. Apologies, Capricorn, I had to pause for a second. So where were we in terms of the Four of Cups, right? This sense of, did I mention, I probably did, but I'm going to say it again, difficulties with co-workers, not there or seeing that they're in flow, or just not really tapping into a sense of abundance. But there's a stagnation here because the arms are crossed and the legs are crossed, right? There's a sense of a heaviness, and also perhaps falling back into the trap of, oh, it's not going to work out, right? I can't do these things, and I'm just going to sit here and not be the adult in the room, right? So as I said earlier, this is bringing in a new frequency, right? And when that happens, old patterns come up. So the challenge is there may be moments where you're really feeling this heaviness, where you're not feeling that things are in flow, and it is the task to look at that and to figure out, okay, well, where is that coming from? As I said, that adult in the room, with perhaps with that Emperor card as well, it might be old patterns from parental figures as well that may be coming up, that's influencing your inability to get that motivation, right? It's so interesting, you've got all that fire energy, which is about an activation of your motivation. And because of that, old patterns where you haven't felt motivated may come in. And it's not about being busy all the time. We need those moments of stillness, but it's how that frequency resonates within ourselves. We then have the King of Wands in reverse. Again, this is sort of the activation and taking action and having clear instincts about what it is that you need to do and what it is that you want to do, right? And having that passion and that drive to do those things. And it's come in reverse. So again, it's very similar to that Four of Cups, of there may be blockages around that, of you being able to step into this sense of maturity because of old patterns coming up. You struggling to see that you are that King of Wands, and the confidence and the sovereignty with that. Okay, so very interesting with the Emperor, which is Aries, which is fire coming through. And then we've got the King of Wands that's being blocked. It's really showing a mirror of the two energies. And this is coming through because, you know, we don't, when we can flip-flop, right? And that can mean that we then forget that this is real, because we get stuck in this. So this is highlighting, don't worry, these are the challenges that are coming up in order for you to realize that this is truly real. So often we need that reflection, we need that mirror of the difficult energy in order to go, okay, wait a minute, though, that's an illusion. Itu fiala Dinah. Speaking of illusion, we've got the moon in reverse. This is Pisces energy. So again, that could be blockages around you being able to implement these things on a 3D basis, on a day-to-day basis. The moon is also incredibly intuitive, very psychic. There is a sense of softness and serenity here. And so being in reverse feels like there's a potential blockage around your true knowing, your true intuition, that you can meet your needs, you can bring in nourishment for yourself. You have the capacity to do this. And there also may be blockages around finding stillness. Because it's Gemini and because it's very fast moving. I do apologize. Oh my goodness, Capricorn, that has never happened before. I thought I'd put my phone on silent, but that's so interesting, the timing of that, because that was linked into work, that as I was saying, maybe not finding those moments of stillness or being constantly interrupted. Because you're going to have a lot of energy in the 6th house, especially with Jupiter there, where it can over prioritize. So the moon in reverse is calling you to find some moments where you can go inward, you can tap into your intuition, because there's going to be challenges around that, and allowing some softness and some nourishment, maybe having baths, right? Having giving yourself a space where you can just be in your own energy. Oh, that was so... I do apologize. That was so... It's never, ever, ever happened before. Woo! Okay, so to work with this energy, Temperance, Queen of Swords, and the 7 of Cups. The Temperance card, this is Sagittarius, and this is about alchemy. It's about refinement, and it's honoring that there is a journey of unfolding where you are refining these parts of yourself. You are give yourself the time, and no, this has come up in all the readings of, because it's Gemini, super fast, of slow down, allow this to integrate. So this is about refinement of all the parts of who you are and bringing in this higher perspective, this angelic frequency into the 3D. And so it's calling you to acknowledge the process of refinement, that it's going to take some time, but it's going to serve you in the long run. You see here the water, it's going up into the cup. This represents 1, magic, and 2, doing things differently. Sagittarius for you is in your 12th house, your hidden house, your house of mysteries. This can bring up trauma responses, limiting beliefs, anxiety, depression, grief, loss, isolation, difficult energies that you are alchemizing. So you can stand firm and be the adult in the room, as well as it's a very magical house, Sagittarius, right? For you, the 12th house, it is the magic of your soul. So you are also alchemizing in this process. It's opposite Gemini, so we always want to balance these out. The magic of your soul, doing work if you're getting in an anxious state to recalibrate back into your body. Queen of Swords, again, another pause card, right? Queens are yin energy. They cultivate, they nurture, they nourish. And so this is acknowledging that there have been some difficult times in your past, right? But your head is above the clouds, and the court card, the sword court cards, always a bit tricky to say, all have birds on them, and she has 1 bird. Can you see where it is? Right on her crown chakra. So this is an honoring of, allow yourself pause to observe that you are no longer in this space, that you are in a fresh new state, but the things relating to this can pop up, but you have the strength of character and the clarity to see beyond that. But it is also saying this is a cultivation energy to help you work through those challenges. It's calling you to just breathe and take a moment and let things digest. We then have the 7 of Cups. Love this. This is about getting you to fantasize and dream beyond old paradigms. Because this frequency that's coming in feels so energetic and like it's part of our future dynamic. It's the capacity. So I talked about Terrence Howard in the Sagittarius moon energy. He has a Pisces sun. His Mars was on the Sagittarius moon, and obviously the sun was in Gemini at the time, and he's bringing through ideas and constructs that are beyond dogma, right? And so this is all about thinking beyond your own internal dogma and not worrying about whether it comes true, not putting any expectations on it, but just allowing you to dream and fantasize about new paradigms. You don't even have to know what they are. This is also my channeling card. So for some of you, it may be about activating, we're all channelers, by the way, we just do it in our own unique ways, activating a higher level of your connection to the way that you channel, which obviously infuses in the way that you work. It can help with your physical health, all of those kind of things. The tools. Oh my goodness, this is a bit of a long video. I was trying to keep these around half an hour. Oh dear. We've got the Knight of Wands, the Page of Pentacles, the Strength card, the Magician. Hello, Mercury. Oh, no. The Three of Wands. I thought I saw that card. The Magician and Jupiter. Very appropriate cards here. So these are the tools to amplify this. Pile 1. Knight of Wands. Put things into practice. Have a play. Right? Be in motion. This is calling you, right? If this is going to have the energy to do physical health and put that into a routine. This is calling you to embody your passions, whatever they may look like, and play and go out in the world, do things with them, without any expectations, any assumptions about how they're going to manifest. This is a very playful, curious energy. Page of Pentacles. Thinking differently, right? New ways of communicating. We've got that energy going on with Saturn in Pisces, which is about how you communicate. That there is a fresh new energy coming in around the way that you express yourself. The pages are very playful. They're very curious. They've just got into the court. They want to talk to everybody, right? They want to figure everything out. And so it's also a very dedicated page, right? The Page of Pentacles, of putting it practically into action. This Gemini energy, Jupiter being there, it's a capacity for us to figure things out and play with lots of different information. And this is all about sharing that, putting it practically into the way that you work, again, on a very playful basis. Don't take things too seriously. Allow yourself to shift and change. Even though it's a tool, I could see this as opportunities of engaging in new relationship dynamics with co-workers. If there's been some discord, of having a fresh new energy with that, as well as opportunities coming along for you to put this into practice in the way that you work. It could be a new project, right? It could be a commission, but certainly perhaps new opportunities around work and around resources and money and the physical realm, that is going to help you play around with implementing this. Strength, Leo energy. This is about looking at things from a space of love and kindness. This is your instincts with your higher self. They are working together. They are collaborating. Another word for strengths card is from the Aleister Crowley deck, and it's lust, as in a lust for life. When we step into things with a sense of empathy, with a sense of kindness and love, and that is for yourself, for the way that you work, for your physical health, for your routines, co-workers, absolutely everything, the more that we're no longer in conflict, right? These two energies aren't trying to dominate one another. They are in union, right? The ebb and flow of the infinity symbol, right? So the more that you're in alignment with that energy, and know that there may be some vulnerable moments that come up, but and through that sense of strength, that sense of courage, operating from a place of love and kindness, you are really going to facilitate the expansion of this energy rather than falling back into you know, the 5 of Wands. If this shows up, you need to activate this. If that 5 of Swords, go back into that. So often we can find it really difficult to be empathetic with ourselves, right? Especially with the 6th house of like work, right? And wanting to put in the work. And if we're not doing it, if things aren't working, then we're like, I'm a bad person. I didn't do enough. No, 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 no. Strength is saying we are operating from the heart. This is Leo. Leo rules the heart. Venus is there, activating that real deep compassion and connection and sense of value in who you are. 3 of Wands. This is a tool for you to acknowledge that you are embarking on a new journey. This figure, unlike the 7 of Wands, is standing on top of a cliff, but they know they've done everything that they needed to do to get them to this point, right? They are confident in their process and their management, and now they are embarking on a new journey. They don't know the hows or the whys of how it's going to unfold, but they are confident within themselves. This is the sun in Aries. So this is saying, hey, you're on a new journey, a new activation based on everything that you've experienced before, and it's calling you to tap into that confidence and not worry about how it's going to unfold. This is about play. Got the Magician. So this is Mercury's card. This is acknowledging that you do have the resources you need around you in order to manifest magic into your life, in order for you to manifest that which you need. The Magician is about action. So there is a sense of play. Play around with with your surroundings. Play around with your resources. Step into the Magician energy of the capacity of creation. But overall, this is a tool. This could be linked into the words and the things that you say, the affirmations that you say, the intentions that you set as well. But this is highlighting the strength and capacity you have to bring things into being. Again, do not worry about the how or the why, right? This is very playful energy. I cannot stress that enough. Jupiter, hello, the Wheel of Fortune, right? So this is, as a tool, is saying, remember that things change. Remember that fate is changing in your favor. This is also the Jupiterian energy, very jovial of spirit, right? Very generous. Very there's a sense of wisdom and elevation, and so it's calling you to hold this in your mind, right? Even if things may feel like they are still that stagnant energy of that 4 of Cups, to tap back into this energy and hold that within you of shifting and changing. We have the World at the bottom of the deck. Know thyself and the world will open up to you. This is Saturn. Right, so this is really calling you to step into your integrity, into your commitment and your dedication, and do it from your energy. Not being distorted about what other people may think, how they value the way that you work, their opinions about your physical health and the routines that you do. Mercury, Gemini energy is very adaptable, very changeable, very catalytic, right? So this is allowing yourself to be fluid and not be bound, and that is part of the deeper understanding of knowing yourself and not being contained and limited by the external world. Oh, you got 2. So I'm pulling some oracle cards here. I've really been enjoying using these 2 decks for the Gemini series. We've got a very mercurial deck, which is called The 4 Agreements. It's based on a book. It's one of the few books that I would recommend to anybody. And it's very mercurial. It's given to me by a Gemini rising. The author of the book has a Virgo sun. And here is the the Shaman's Oracle deck, Shaman's Dream Oracle deck. And this is helping us tap into some of the bigger energies that are floating around us. I see it very much as a Jupiterian. Oh no, that's way too many. Right, we got 2 for 2. yeah, the sort of Jupiter's very philosophical. It is about the bigger picture. So what do we have here? Don't take anything personally. See people as they are. When you see other people as they are without taking it personally, you can never be hurt by what they say or do. Even if others lie to you, it's okay. They are lying to you because they are afraid you will discover that they are not perfect. This is kind of tying in with just what I was just saying about not about it's this and this energy here of not, it's not about what other people think. When I was reading that, I was thinking about sort of physical health and routines of something that may have been said to you when you were very young about the way that you look, about your capacity to do things in a routine, and how that maybe have limited and blocked you. That genuinely what's going on with other people is irrelevant to you. And so that's really doubly confirming what was coming through, that this is your journey, this is your experience, and this has the ability for you to step away from the entanglement of other people's perspectives. Always do your best. Practice makes the master. So this is mastery, trying all the things, doing all the things. By doing your best over and over, you can master the art of transformation. By doing your best, the habits of misusing your word, taking things personally, and making assumptions will become weaker and less frequent with time. So again, that playfulness of trying things out, of not, and I kept saying, don't put assumptions or expectations onto anything that you're doing. And through that process, through that sense of love rather than conflict, you will find that you're instinctively drawn towards the things that are part of your soul's journey. Talk about this in the Jupiter transit, so I do really recommend it. A tidy house, clarity and organization, a thorough inventory, an auspicious symbol. If your emotional world feels messy and unruly and you can't seem to get clear, it's time to see how your environment is affecting you. Although your inner world has a huge impact on what shows up in your outer world, the reverse is also true. You can be influenced by the people who populate your daily life and the energy of objects you surround yourself with. Basically, everything in your surroundings. Now is the time for an inventory and full clearing of your environment. Ask for clarity from your relationships and do not make assumptions at this time. Okay. So the 6th house of how you work then leads into the 7th house of one-to-one relationships. So you understanding how you work and being able to express that, it helps facilitate healthier relationships. Clear and we can often sacrifice that 6th house for the people in our lives. Clear and unambiguous communication is key. You may choose to let go of some people from your life when this shows up. This is a good thing. Otherwise, you might stay in these relationships too long out of a sense of obligation and social courtesy, when in truth there is nothing holding you together. Be impeccable with your word. Say what you mean. Be willing to make whatever changes are necessary to clean up your side of the street. If you know you are doing the right thing, it doesn't matter who has an opinion. That's going back to this. That said, right now, once you are sure your proverbial house is a tidy one, there is a release of energy to begin new things, to enjoy life, and to know with certainty you're on the right path. So this is kind of highlighting to that integrity of Saturn, but also give yourself space to really enhance this energy. Give yourself space to look after your physical health, to figure out how you want to work now at this higher level, what kind of routines you want, and clear the clutter of that which you generally know hasn't served you to this point. And again, this is a very independent energy showing up of again, not being through this sense of that emperor, of not allowing distortions from the external world. Whether they fall away from your life is it will depend on your own experiences. But I often find when we clear the clutter within ourselves, right? So this doesn't just have to be external. We then are no longer in conflict with ourselves, and therefore no longer in conflict and not bothered by what people are doing around us, because our energy is so in its own power that it can often mean those relationships elevate, right? If they do fall away, it's because soul contracts there when you're not in alignment, and it's not to worry about what's going to happen. Itu fiala. Right. We've got the Woodwives, adaptability. Itialia dialama. And, you know, that Aries energy of the home, it might be really good to do a spring clean. Ituila di shelemo otuila. Itialia diala diala diala. As well as spring cleaning your mind all around how you understand those themes of the sixth house. Ituila diala. Adaptability, strong roots, just as I was talking about the fourth house, growth. The Woodwives dance into your dreams as a reminder to be grounded no matter what life offers you. You need to know who you are, what you'll tolerate, and what you've learned to date, and what boundaries to set so you feel good about yourself. Life is going to offer you something extraordinary now, and in order to learn and receive its blessings, you must remember that being grounded gives you more freedom, not less. You have everything you need. You have all it takes to do this right now. If you also keep reminding yourself to be flexible, you will be amazed by how well things play out for you. The Woodwives are both, I love that flexibility, Gemini, and the grounded energy of Capricorn coming together here. The Woodwives are both wisdom keepers and students of the new world, as these forest spirits have an uncanny ability to adapt to changing circumstances and always find the perfect way to grow and expand. Love this for you. They represent what you already know how to do. Right, anything new is always that zings, right, that we feel a kinship with, is always been inherent within us. It's never really new. Ituela, because time and dimensions are all at once, right? Learn. Be in the beginner's mind. Let go of your rigid notion of how things should be and be present to what is right now, unencumbered by your projections. So so far using this deck, it has and this one has summed up absolutely everything that's come through in all the readings. It happened in the Jupiter transit as well. Is there a storm brewing because things need to change? No worries. Nothing can uproot you now, and it will pass. And you will dance with nature and move with it all. Perhaps you're being given an opportunity to take a chance on something new, and you're not sure how far you can go without losing your footing. Have no fear, for when you remember your roots, your integrity, Ita Saturn, your authentic self, Aries, the Emperor, you can stretch yourself beyond the invisible line you drew. Go for it. You'll be so glad you did. Well, Capricorn, as always, an honor and a privilege to read for you. If this resonated, it would bring me joy if you hit that like button. I'd love to hear from you as well. All helps the algorithm as well. Facts is facts. If you want a personal reading and deep dive further into this transit or anything else, my website is in the description box and my email is in the website. Other than that, Capricorn, be good to yourselves, be good to those around you, and most importantly, be well until we meet again. Sagittarius rising. Hello, Sag. Right, for those who I read for the rising signs, so for those of you who have Sagittarius elsewhere in your chart, go check out what house it's in and the themes of that house. You want to apply those themes as well as all the meaning you've got going on in Sagittarius to the messages that come through. It will be as if that Sagittarius energy has now moved to the first house. You just got to add on your natal chart meaning on top of it. So when I talk about the astrology for the rising sign, it will still connect. Well, Sagittarius, you have Itiala Duishenia, Duishinimat Italia Duela Diala. You have this new moon happening opposite your sign, Ituvila, Sag, right? In the sign of Gemini. And this is this is quite a moon. I've done a collective reading on it. And I always recommend that because I get to expand and tap into the energy of the moon, right? I talk about the astrology in way more detail of how all the celestial bodies are talking to each other at the exact moment. And then really tap into the energy and see what we're working with here. Did some collective tarot and channeled messages come through. So if you want a deeper understanding about this new moon, go check out that collective reading. And I also want to apologize for getting this transit out really late. Today is actually the day of the new moon. It's going to be happening in nearly 2.5 hours. But that's because I did a Jupiter and Gemini transit series, and that took a little longer than anticipated. And then I felt very inspired inspired to do a Venus Sun Kazemi video, a pick a card video that's going to go out on Friday, and that was in the sign of Gemini as well. That's when they were conjunct one another. All of that is very Gemini energy, and that it's all so incredibly relevant to this new moon. So yeah, I do apologize, but I work with 6-month cycles, so the messages that come through in these readings are going to unfold over the next 6 months, and I also feel that we can retrospectively tap back into energy, and so if you will be watching this after the event of the exact moment of the new moon, that you can tap into setting intentions at a later date. So I do humbly apologize, Sag. Okay, oh, by the way, your Jupiter reading, ooh, very cool, very cool. just remembering I had a song that popped up in my head with it, and when I figured out what the music was, it was a piece of classical music. It was so in alignment with the reading, it was ridiculous. I love it when stuff like that happens. I'm so in awe of this universe. Anyway, right. Where is this happening for you? Sagittarius rising. This is happening in the house of the other. Right, the other is our one-to-one intimate relationships. Right, this can be business partners, one-to-one clients, people you work with on a one-to-one basis, intimate friends, longer-term committed romantic relationships, as well as source. This house is linked into contracts, right, and there's a level of integrity and commitment that comes with contracts, right, where two parties decide, outline what their agenda is and what they're going to do, and then they're obliged to do so. This is often why this is linked into marriages, because marriages is a contract. So there's a real sense of commitment here with the other, a sense of dedication between the self and the other. Now, new moon in this sign, I can see with the 7th house, I see it show up in so many different ways. 1, it's what you're drawn to in the other. 2, is how you show up with the other. 3, is what happens to the other in your life, as well as how you understand yourself in relationship to the other, because it is a mirror. And so this is opposite your house of self. And the house of self is obviously all about you. This is how you embody your sun and your moon in your actions and your deeds. All depends if you've got a day or a night chart, which luminary is providing wisdom to your ascendant, who is your navigator, right? The lens in which you move through these cosmic waters, and that's your Sagittarius energy. It's your body, it's your character, it's your sense of self, and often how other people see you. So you've got a new moon over opposite you, right? We always want to make sure the oppositions are in balance, that they honor one another, right? So a fresh new intentions around your relationship with the other, and with this can be with source, business partners, all of that, and how you are influenced by the other. Say we over prioritize the other in our lives, and we neglect ourselves. This is a great time to set an intention to not do that anymore. You can set intentions around healthy connections with the other, to elevate commitment with the other. As I said, that can be source. Getting more clients in can be one. Drawing more intimate friendships towards you. If you want a longer term committed romantic relationship, this can be putting in the energy around activating that. Just felt to say, if like your business partner is being a bit of a dick, right? This can be an intention to elevate that relationship, or bring in a relationship that is more in alignment with your soul's journey. Definitely can heighten the connection to source as well. I think I already mentioned that. I see source show up, and our engagement with source a lot in the 7th. So we have a stellium going on in Gemini. We have the sun and the moon conjunct Venus, and the ruler of this moon, Mercury, conjunct Jupiter. So big stellium, big focus around the other with you at the moment, Sag. And this conjunction with Venus, beautiful energy of us connecting through the heart in a more curious and playful way, right? That Gemini energy of being able to connect the dots, being able to share ideas and be more open with communication from our heart space. More appreciation and value and connection and harmony when it comes between the self and the other. This moon is out of bounds, and the Sagittarius full moon that was in your sign was also out of bounds. And this is when celestial bodies go above the trajectory that the sun makes in the sky. So they're more galactic energy, they're more zoomed out, bigger picture, galaxy, universe, cosmos energy, rather than the entanglement of the earth energy. So this moon is bringing forth a very liberating, integrated frequency. It's very playful, it's very light, and it's allowing us to operate from the heart in the way that we perceive information and connect the dots. So this is really helpful in elevating any difficulties you've had with the other, right? And any old paradigms. So it's come through quite a lot with all the signs, because this is such a sort of integrated frequency that's coming in, that's really more zoomed out and from that heart space. And with the Jupiter Mercury conjunction of our wisdom around how we communicate and how we connect the dots, that this just feels like a really beautiful energized portal that we're activating here. The two benefics, Venus and Jupiter, are in this sign, so it's really very supportive. That because of that, that old paradigms, old traumas, old limiting beliefs are likely to bubble to the surface, because when we have big activations, when we have big portals like this, from an energetic sense, the 3D then takes a little while to catch up, and so we're likely to see either internally or externally scenarios that may mimic old traumas. That we then that are bubbling to the surface because they're being released, because your energetic body, your physical body, the trauma in your body, your mind, your emotions, your soul are all integrating this frequency that's being downloaded. What else is going on? So big energy over with the other. Remember to stay in your power, Sag, so that the opposition is in balance. Oh, that card's been showing up for everybody. So, big Gemini energy, very a new neural networks, new neural pathways are coming in. Beyond our old limitations. Now, the only aspect that I'm going to talk about, everything else is in the collective reading. There's some cool stuff going on with the trine with Pluto. There's trines with the South Node and a sextile with the North Node as well. So that air energy is being activated. Your fifth house of your creation energy, your pleasure, your joy also. So I would really go recommend checking that out. Anyway, the square with Saturn in Pisces. In your fourth house, Sagittarius rising, which is your roots and your foundations. What have we got there? Oh, Chinima, speaking of Libra. Your roots and your foundations. Sorry, whenever they start messing around with the deck. Is that going to stay there? Okay, cool. Fourth house, roots and foundations, right? These are the roots of your tree, and we want to nourish them and have them be strong. This is your ancestors, both blood and soul lineage, as well as your parental figures, the roof over your head, and the things you do in private, right? Saturn's there, been there for a while. For those of you who might not have caught any of the Saturn in Pisces transit series, they're all in. Everything's always in its own playlist, by the way. I still recommend the first and the third. We're going to have Saturn go retrograde soon. I'm going to be doing that transit later on. It's at the end of June. I'm going to be doing that later on. That Saturn can bring up restrictions, limitations, and frustration, right? And it's in a square, and squares are an aspect of Mars, and Mars can bring up conflict, drama, winning at all costs, right? So there's an element of this all bubbling to the surface. This could be about you, whether you feel safe and secure in your roots and your foundations, things going on in private if you are in a relationship, or things going on in the home for you genuinely that may be causing restrictions around your capacity to engage with the other. I say this mindfully just because these are going to be coming to the surface in order for you to then work with, right? The challenge. The flip side to this, a square. Mars is not just the god of war. He is a builder. He is a farmer. I hear you, brother. That this is about manifestation. This is about building. This is about your motivations, your drive, your actions. This is about taking, bringing things into being in the 3D realm. Squares are about 3D manifestation. They're very powerful. They act as catalysts for change. So this is about building with the integrity, the commitment, the maturity of your legacy of Saturn that's being established in your foundational space with the other, right? So this can be building a home with someone. This could be living with someone and really committing to that. I can see this as a really powerful connection with you, source, and your ancestors. Thinking of that, I can see a lot of wounds around relationships, right? Around the other, both from yourself, from things you've learned from your parental figures, wounds from the ancestors around having commitment in your life, having the desire to connect, and the kind of relationships that's are in balance, wounds around that being potentially coming to the surface, but also definitely being released. What else was I going to say? Saturn in the 4th. This could be, say you work from home, a real strengthening, like with clients, of a commitment and a dedication to that. Spending more time at home with really intimate friends. Building a very strong sense of your integrity, your power, your authority, that is bringing relationships into alignment and balance with your sense of self. Right, look to where your sun and your moon are in your natal chart. Look to the themes of the houses that they're in. Those themes are likely to play a role in the unfolding over the next 6 months of this energy. As well as if you want to work with manifestation energies, plant seeds, it can be helpful to bring these themes into it. Do what your intuition tells you on that one. That just gives you a little bit more personal understanding beyond this general reading. If you want a deeper dive into this, my website is in the description box and my email address is on the website. Send me a line. I've got Instagram, send me a voice note, send me a message, and we can go further. Right, so the energies that I work with, they are going to move these cards around Ishali, Doela. They're going to do some energy work, and then they're going to put them into the 3 piles. And that's when I'm going to bring in the tarot to the astrology. Regulars, I'm doing things a little differently. The 3 piles are what's being activated, what are the challenges, and what are the tools to amplify this energy. Oh, Dinah, that just said Mercury time. So sorry, I didn't realize my phone was on. It's rarely on. It's always on silent. I like Mercury time. All right, so highlighting something. There's a very powerful energy around communication and understanding your own truth. I suggest you go consciously quiet as well and soften your mind. Just had loads of information. Let that all settle and then see what your intuition is bringing to the table here. Itiala duela, 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 duela. Ishiela, duela maritini ma ot. Diala, diala, Dialama, 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 duela. Okay, this card wants to be in two places at once. Itu fala, it's here and also here. Itu ela diala. Itu dum dialama titini matiti. Dum titani matim. Do ela mati ala diala. Do ela. Do tinima to fitiela doela diala di tin chutunima tinima o toela mati tinima o tola matilama do itiala ituala diala diala do shenima do fala doela diala diala ititinimo to shelela doela diala do felema do ela diala do fiala diala. Okay, let's move that. And then we got the Chariot at the bottom of the deck. Some of you might be moving in with people. Right, so Sagittarius, what is going on with you? What is being activated? So we got the 5 of Cups in reverse, the Devil in reverse, the 10 of Wands in reverse with the 6 of Pentacles, the Ace of Swords, Lady Justice, the Empress, and the 9 of Pentacles. So a release around grief, a release around old energies of not being in flow, not feeling connected to, not having a sense of kinship, feeling a sense of emotional abundance when it comes to the other. Some of you, this may be about old past relationships, or a sense of maybe not ever having a relationship that was truly deeply intimate. Itufala in the way that your soul knows how to have it. Itala di salamo otufiala. This is being released. The Devil in reverse. A release around addictive personalities. Oh, that's not what I meant. But, those personalities that we can be addicted to that don't serve us. Like the old trope of the bad boy energy, right? Okay, of certain relationships that have bound you, that don't actually give you nourishment. That come from love languages that we may have learned in this lifetime or previous ones. Remember, Saturn is over in your 4th, right? So this is about the parental figures, right, and the ancestors. So wounds around that. 10 of Wands in reverse, no longer feeling like you're all alone, holding all the weight, doing all the work. And a sense of heaviness there, of not being able to enjoy. 6 of Pentacles, as he's saying, a balancing has come. You've actually got the 2 scale cards in this pile, that moving away from a scarcity fear mindset into a sense of balance and moving into a state of abundance when it comes to the other. The Ace of Swords, a vision, clarity, that brings in a sense of sovereignty, right? So you're going to get a lot of clarity and a renewal of so if we see that Gemini energy, it's obviously the sword suit, right, of ideas, constructs, preconceptions around the other. The Ace of Swords is coming in. It's saying there's a refreshing energy. You're not thinking in the same way. You're thinking more in alignment with your soul's frequency. And also this is highlighting a new way of communicating from your authenticity. Justice, a balance around soul contracts, relationship balance. Itofala. She sees things with empathy and objectivity. Your ability to see that in your relationships rather than being distorted. Ishali doela. This is also about your hopes and your dreams, Libra. is in your 11th house, right? So for some of you, this is about activating a strengthening of whatever the other means, whether it's a business partner, one-to-one clients, friends, source, romantic relationship. There's something coming into a balance, a new contract coming in around an elevated hope and dream. Empress. Feeling abundant, feeling creative, right? Venus is there right now. This is Venus's card. Feeling good about the other, and there being receptivity there. A real sense of the other being a nourishment, right? Being a source of abundance and fertility, and your engagement with it. And just feeling really good about it. 9 of Pentacles. Love this showing up because it's kind of highlighting what I was saying of about making sure you don't lose your power, right? And fall into old paradigms, right? With the other, it's about 2 individuals who are in alignment but grow separately, right? They support one another, they elevate one another, and that sometimes that's being real with them. But it never diminishes your own sovereignty. So the 9 of Pentacles, this figure knows what they need to do in order to bring out a more holistic lifestyle, right? Of a sense of abundance and pleasure and joy. So this is saying that you are no longer going to be, if this is relevant for you, it may be like a tiny little tendril in your energetic field of self-sacrifice. This figure is able to draw boundaries, say no, be able to do the things that they need to do that serve them, and not completely prioritize the other. It's not about not supporting the other. It's about finding a really healthy energy within yourself. And it also sort of highlighting that this, whatever's going on with the other, however it shows up, it's bringing about a sense of abundance in your private life. Like of you finding more joy, more pleasure, more ease and flow. The challenge and the energy to work with the challenge should you choose to accept it. 9 of Swords, 8 of Swords, 4 of Pentacles in reverse, 4 of Cups, 6 of Cups, 7 of Swords. So worry, anxiety, fear, mindset. Are the cycles going to repeat, right? What did I do? Did I do something wrong? Is it going to repeat in the future? Why did somebody do that to me? Is this always going to be my relationship? This is a fear mindset, right? This is worrying about things we can't control. And it's anxiety, right? It's cortisol, adrenaline, it's sleepless nights. And overall, there's a sense of the challenge here because of this independence coming up, 2 9s, because of this strengthening of this frequency, this elevation of the 7th. A lot of the old worries are going to come up, right? And just know that, perhaps just know that because they are coming out to be released, right? So we can so often not necessarily trust new frequencies, and then we just expect, we can't put faith and hope into the change. Jupiter's there facilitating activation of faith. 8 of Swords, speaking of Jupiter in Gemini, this is the Jupiter in Gemini card. This is trapped in a cage of your own making. This card is all about illusion, ideas, words, constructs, preconceptions, assumptions, expectations. They are all an illusion, and they keep us limited and they keep us trapped. Jupiter is helping us reveal the illusion, right? So we can then be free. So there are paradigms that have kept you trapped, whether from your own experiences or that of your ancestors, past life energy, the collective, right? Limitations. And so you might find yourself putting yourself back in the box, right? And you might find that there are parts of what's showing up with the other that are representing this. And it's for you to stand in this power and be like, I see you and I appreciate you. I understand why you're there. You're a tool, you're a lesson to help me shift out of it rather than fall back into it. Itufala, 4 of Pentacles in reverse. So this is, for me, I love this card. It's one of my favorites at the moment. This is about your inner soul frequency being sovereign and protected and not being distorted through entanglement by the outside world, so you can create and manifest a sense of safety and security in the 3D world and build. Itufela. In reverse, it's saying that there may be entanglements, there may be energy drains, there may be old paradigms with relationships where you are not in your power, you are not building, it's all being, the power is being given away. So this is what's bubbling to the surface. There may be, as I said, like with the other cards, there may be moments like this, there may be big moments like this that show up over the next 6 months. And as I said, this is for us to integrate and realize, oh no, that is not part of me anymore. I understand why. So often you can have emotional responses. You can be in observation of those patterns within yourself and externally, but realize actually there's a bigger part of you that's like, no, this is generally not me. And so they show up in order for us to understand that. Four of Cups, right? This is about the melancholy, the depression, the heaviness of seeing that flow, seeing that Three of Cups, of out of reach, of that union, of that being celebrating others, a sense of abundance, a sense of celebration, the other people's healthy relationships, right? Other people's really happy dynamics, however that shows up. And you're looking at that and you're like, I never have that. It hasn't worked out. I'm never going to have it. And I resent people around me who do, right? This is comparison is the thief of joy. So there's a sense of perhaps coming up over the next 6 months of falling back into this space. I know I'm repeating myself so much. And of just being like, oh, I don't trust this. This doesn't feel real. And again, it's all... I've said this so many times. I do apologize, Sagittarius, for you know what I'm about to say. So these are the challenges that are bubbling to the surface, and this is the energy to work with that challenge. We've got the Six of Cups and the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords, I think, is pretty much shown up for every reading, and we're now over halfway. Six of Cups. This is about being appreciative of the past, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? The beautiful, rather than resentful, rather than stagnant, rather than in pain and then recreating it. This figure, you see here all these cups, it follows that Five of Cups, which showed up in reverse. This figure is receiving something from the past, whether it's just an idea, a thought, an old soul contract coming back, an offering from your soul family, from your guides, to let you know that because of that process, you are where you are now, and that there are flowers now growing out of this. So this is about being at peace with the past. We don't have to condone the actions of what may have happened, but we can be at peace with it and realize, okay, I wouldn't be who I am right now if the whole of the universe, every moment in this universe and the one before that and all the other things, whatever it may be, you wouldn't be who you are right now. This is the biggest house in a tarot. There's an element of safety and security here, of like us calling you to tap in, to know that you are safe, you are secure, you are loved, you are where you are right now. No shoulda, woulda, coulda. So it's really calling you to tap into this energy, and it's difficult to do, especially if you've had something really painful happen. That this is saying, okay, to work with all of this, we have to find this inner peace. We have to think more from our heart in a curious new way. About how we connect the dots with all of that. Speaking of a new curious way of thinking, we have the Seven of Swords. This is very much the out of bounds energy. It's the color of the sun. This is a really positive card. It's stealing away the Five of Swords. It's stealing away conflict of the bully and the victim mentality. That may be relevant for some of your relationships. We can be both of those things. The bully so often was a victim. There's just only a small percentage of where that's not the case, and this is calling you to, this is about thinking differently, right? It's bringing in a sense of inner peace, and calling you to go inward and look and reflect, and bring in a state of calm rather than bringing in the conflict over and over and over again. And these are the tools for you to work with this, and it is about thinking differently in a very unique way. The tools to work and amplify this energy, we have the Three of Wands, the Page of Cups, the Lovers, hello Gemini, the Queen of Pentacles, the Two of Swords, which is there, and the Knight of Wands. So this is asking you, this is the Sun in Aries, which is your fifth house of your creation energy, and this figure is standing on a cliff. They have the higher ground. They are incredibly confident that they're embarking on a new journey. They're not worrying about the how or the why. They are confident that they are able to be in this new experience. And this tool is calling you to tap into this energy, right? To tap into this inner sovereignty. What brings you pleasure? What brings you joy, right? Where are are you feeling creative? And stand in your power, right? This is really calling to stand in your power. Again, don't worry about the how or the why. Gemini, curious, mutable. We are shifting and changing with all of this. It's not about trying to restrict or control. But it is also saying you are embarking on a new journey. Have some faith. Have some trust in what will unfold. Page of Cups, communicating through love. With yourself, with those around you. This is very Piscean energy. This could be you tapping into source, doing meditations, communicating with source, tapping into the magic of Pisces in your home life, as well as it is calling you to find the magic, find the love, rather than the conflict. In the way that you're seeing the synchronicities, in the way that you're interpreting what people may be saying and what you're saying. And I also feel like there's more opportunities of love coming in. And that's a tool for you to build on this and have some trust that there's a new frequency around. The lovers. This is about union. This is the Gemini energy. This is about integration of the masculine, feminine, and spirit in order to make right decisions that serve you in the long term. So this is calling you to do integration work. I focus mostly on you in these readings. So this is about your energy of how you respond, how you mirror to the other, right? And going doing a deep dive about where do these things come from? Are they even me? And there's also, in terms of the other, a reflection on opening up to falling in love in a deeper way and seeing union rather than seeing conflict. Queen of Pentacles. This is about nourishment and nurturing in the 3D realm, very abundant energy. And this is yin energy. They cultivate, they nurture, they nourish, they bring depth and wisdom to this earth energy. So this is about nourishing how this feels in your physical body, nourishing how you take, just cultivating it in the 3D world and realizing that you are cultivating abundance right now and you are cultivating this new frequency. And there's a pause here. Or with this of saying, let things unfold, hold a space of abundance. And again, it's about viewing the 3D away from conflict. Two of Swords with the Knight of Wands. Two of Swords, this is the inner space, right? This is the two swords. This figure has gone inward to tap into their intuition. This is Moon in Libra. There's calm, there's still. This is about honouring that there's a recalibration here. And you know what I was saying earlier about looking to your impulses. And it's different from instinct. Impulse tends to come from trauma and limiting beliefs. Of giving yourself pause, allowing yourself to go into meditation. This has come up in a lot of the readings, of there being stillness, of allowing things to unfold rather than the go, and allowing some calm. This is also highlighting the strengthening of your connection with the ancestors and source in your home life, of going into meditation and seeing what comes through, what ideas come through, and then putting them into practice. Gemini is very playful, very curious. And so this isn't about taking things seriously. This is about playing around with no expectations and assumptions. We've got the Knight of Wands, embodying your passions, embodying your drive, putting what you're learning into practice. And this might be doing things with the other. As I said, putting how what's showing up, what's being cleared into practice. And also, this is your card, Sagittarius, but it's also Aries energy because it's fire. In terms of your creation energy, your joy, your pleasure, of taking action around that and then seeing how it feels, right? You don't have to commit to anything. We're moving away from dogma here, guys. We got the Chariot. This is about being in your flow state, being confident, being a sense of victory within yourself. This figure isn't controlling anything. There are no reins. They are being guided by the balance of the yin and the yang, right? And they are moving through the world with all the experiences and all the resources that they've gathered throughout their lifetime, right? They don't necessarily know where they're going, but they are confident in that movement. So this is Cancer, and that's your 8th house of relationship dynamics. That's the give and exchange between you and the other. So there's something here about an activation around feeling more confident around the relationship dynamics. It's also about moving forward, momentum, going beyond old paradigms, as well as it also could be about moving and traveling with the other on the astral plane or in the real world. It's a very confident card. It is about victory, that you are heading towards somewhere where you're not having to be in anxiety, you're not having to worry and fear, and you're just allowing more flow. Okay, you got 2 there. So I'm pulling cards from 2 oracle decks. I've been using them in all the Gemini transits so far, and I've been loving it. That one is the 4 agreements that I just did. I really recommend that book to absolutely anyone. This deck was given to me by a Gemini rising, and the author of the book has a Virgo sun. It is a very mercurial deck. And this one is the Shaman's Dream Oracle. All the decks are in the description box, by the way, if any of them take your fancy. And this is tapping into sort of the more bigger cosmic energy, right? I feel like it's very Jupiterian, of the sort of the higher perspective. It's a very, Jupiter can be a very spiritual planet. Itali, the philosopher, okay, so 2 for 2. First up, don't take anything personally. Become immune to poison. The whole world can gossip about you, and if you don't take it personally, you are immune. Immunity to poison in the middle of hell is the gift of the 2nd agreement. So this feels about you being in your power and not being distorted by the other. Not worrying about the actions that you're taking in regards to the other. So for some of you, if you're connecting to source and people think you're a weirdo, it's got nothing to do with you. And this is also, I feel like this is about more about past energy that is impacted, you know, a lot of this is, again, is the old paradigms, and it's the 4th house of, you know, say somebody said something to you when you were a teenager or when you were younger, and it's diminished your understanding of who you are in relationship to the other. And that's getting cleared out, as well as any old dynamics, perhaps where relationships, friends may have been gossiping about you, old romantic relationships, whatever it is that they've given you some poison, right? And whether you were aware of it or not, it's influenced your energy field. So really cultivate this of like, it's irrelevant, it's got nothing to do with them. We had that 4 of Pentacles in reverse of like energy leaks from your soul's frequency where you're not able to manifest in the world. So there's something going on here about releasing that. You might want to do meditations on it. Don't freak out, please don't freak out. And if it's, you don't resonate with it, you don't resonate with it. But genuinely is just a really healthy mindset of just like, everyone's got an opinion. And this just got to step in that power. Like there's a real balance here around blockages and carrying that weight, and finding more fertility rather than like the barren earth. The earth is not poisoned with the Empress. Be impeccable with your word. Release the power of your word. Your word is the power that you have to create. It's a gift that comes directly from God. So there is something around intentions. There's something around the more that you communicate from a very authentic, loving place, with yourself, with the external world, this is going to shift the relationships. If you have certain desires and intentions, express them, write them down, sing them. Also tap into the feeling. You don't necessarily have to have the word itself, you can bring in the feeling. Which one first, guys? Okay, so we have the benefactor. Grace and generosity, gifts, support, mentoring. When the benefactor weaves her energy into your life, you're put on notice that all manner of positive reinforcement is coming your way. The universe wants to let you know that just as you have been generous with others, serving with your gifts even in the smallest capacity, so you will be rewarded in a myriad of ways. The most beautiful gift of the benefactor gives you is the recognition that you are stewarding and sharing abundance on behalf of a higher source, one that is always working through you. The motives for her generosity to you, as well as yours to others, are intangible, although you will see the results reflected in the material world. The benefactor reminds you that it's in the purity of your desire to share without the need for reciprocity that paradoxically your initial generosity is reciprocated tenfold, seemingly without any connection to the original act, dream sharing and caring into being. And you will be amazed to see this vibrant seed take root and spread. Do it just because, and the benefactor will give you her blessing. This is fascinating in regards to the other, of like, so often we can prioritize the other, right? We can give the other and drain ourselves. And it's so often a very instinctive energy that feels very natural, and that it's not about getting it back. But then after a while that you might feel really like that 10 of wands, right? Of feeling really quite burdened and exhausted, right? And not necessarily getting the nourishment back. So it feels like some old dynamics that you may have been the giver, right? Is now bringing through more healthier frequencies. And also your connection with source as well, of a real powerful support coming in. Oh, that's beautiful for the other, because so often we really can self-sacrifice. And I really like that energy's coming back, however it comes back for you. With Venus and Jupiter there, it's generally not surprising. Of like the other, if you see the seventh of the actions of the other as well, not just your reflection of them and what you're drawn to, of having real positive affirmations of love and gifts. And it may be through words that then recalibrate wounds within yourself. Ooh. Overflow. Too much, overwhelm, and plenty. So many good things are headed your way or are already occurring in your life right now. Yet you may be thinking that they're not possible or you're not worthy of them. These two decks they've blown my mind with every single reading, because they continually are just summing up everything that comes through. Abundance is everyone's natural state before we project our restrictions on it, defining what it means, who has it, who gets it, and so forth. Right now, take yourself out of your conditioning and look at your life through the eyes of plenty. They're doing work around the heart area right now. There is so much beauty and love, opportunities and divine synchronicities destined to support your dreams abound and are lined up for you. Remember that Lady Justice of your hopes and your dreams. Yet it's sometimes difficult to discern it all because you're bombarded with too much information and stimulation, distracting you from truth that all is well. Sometimes they're moving over the throat chakra, by the way. They're doing sort of clearing. Ituela. Sometimes all this overflow can be overwhelming, and you may find yourself responding with empathy overload. Empathy overload occurs when you tune into the collective angst and fear about impending changes and uncertainties. It's unmanageable. You feel like you're drowning in those emotions. It's time to allow yourself to detach. Bring yourself back to your life. Restore your faith in a power greater than you, and remind yourself to focus on your smaller personal universe, which is much easier to manage. In this way, you know that you are a conduit for life's blessings and can share them with others, making this perception of overflow profoundly positive. Beautiful, 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 affirming energy, right? Love this for you. I hope you enjoyed this reading. The energy feels Very nourishing, I cannot lie. If this resonated, or if you just enjoyed listening about astrology, seeing the tarot cards, it would bring me great joy if you hit that like button. It also helps the algorithm. Facts is facts. As I said earlier, if you want a personal reading about anything, drop me a line. Other than that, Sagittarius, be good to yourself, be good to those around you, and most importantly, be well until we meet again.